is the Globe SP30 Quart Floor Planetary Mixer actually good for? Who should walk away? And does it make sense for the average home baker, who's just trying to keep the dough from sticking to the counter? Those are the three questions that keep most people up at night before they drop a few $100s on a standalone mixer. If you're on the fence, you're probably wondering whether the extra torque and the oil bath transmission really translate into smoother kneading, or if you'll just end up with a pricey piece of kitchen hardware you never use. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the kind of kitchen that actually benefits from a floor-standing planetary mixer of this size. Imagine you run a small catering side hustle, you bake weekly batches of artisanal bread, or you love tackling holiday cookie marathons that require multiple doughs at once. In those scenarios, the 30-quart bowl gives you room to mix a full loaf of sourdough starter, a couple of cake batters, or even a batch of mashed potatoes without stopping to swap containers. The built-in timer on the front panel lets you set a 30-minute mix and walk away, which is a real time saver when you're juggling other prep work. Now, flip the script and picture the casual weekend baker who makes a loaf of banana bread once a month. For that person, a countertop 5-quart mixer usually does the job, and the floor model's footprint, almost a full foot wide and 2 feet deep, can feel like a permanent kitchen fixture. If your countertop space is already tight, you'll end up fighting the mixer's legs for room, and the high-torque motor may be more power than you'll ever need. In short, if you're only mixing a few dozen ounces a week, you'll likely be paying for capabilities you'll never tap. The first practical strength that shows up when you actually hook up the SP30 is its torque. The custom-built motor and heat-treated steel gears give it a consistent pull even when you're working with stiff, high-hydration doughs. I tried a 100% whole wheat sourdough starter that normally makes a countertop mixer stall, and the bowl kept turning without any hiccups. The oil bath transmission means the gears stay lubricated, which translates into less heat buildup during long mixes. That's a subtle but important detail. After a 45-minute knead, the motor stayed cool enough that the timer didn't have to cut out, and the dough didn't stick to the bowl walls. Another real-world advantage is the fixed-speed direct gear drive. You don't have to scroll through a digital speed range. The mixer runs at a single, high-efficiency speed that's been tuned for most mixing tasks. For bakers who hate fiddling with speed knobs, that simplicity can be a relief. It also means there's less that can go wrong, fewer electronics, fewer points of failure. The front-mounted electronic timer is intuitive. Twist the dial, set the minutes, and the mixer will automatically shut off, giving you a hands-free window to focus on proofing or other prep steps. But the fixed-speed approach also carries a trade-off. Because you can't dial down to a very slow stir, delicate tasks like folding whipped egg whites or gently incorporating dry ingredients into a batter can be a little aggressive. I found that for airy mousse or chiffon cake batters, I had to stop the mixer early and finish the incorporation with a spatula to avoid overmixing. So if you frequently make light, airy desserts, you might miss the low-speed setting that many countertop models provide. The size of the bowl is a double-edged sword. On the plus side, you can throw a full 30-quart of dough in there and still have room for a second bowl of frosting without swapping. The downside is the weight. Even empty, the unit tips the scales at around 70 pounds, and you'll need a solid floor that can support it without wobbling. I placed it on a wooden kitchen island, and the legs sat firmly, but if you have a lighter laminate surface, you might notice a subtle vibration after the motor ramps up. The manufacturer recommends a level floor, so a quick check with a bubble level before you install can save you from a shaky mixing experience. Now let's talk about maintenance, because that's where the oil bath transmission shows its true value. Unlike dry-run gearboxes that can get noisy over time, the oil bath keeps the gears running smoothly and reduces wear. The downside is that you have to check the oil level occasionally, something most home cooks don't think about. The manual suggests checking it every 6 months, which isn't a huge chore, but it does add a small maintenance step that a countertop mixer typically avoids. So, who should buy the Globe SP30? If you're running a small home bakery, catering a few events a month, or you simply love the idea of a set-it-and-forget-it mixing session while you prep the rest of your menu, this mixer delivers on the promise of power and capacity. It's especially worth considering if you've outgrown a 5-quart countertop unit and